Let's try this one more time. Okay, did this work? Because we were having a few issues earlier. Restream is not my friend today, but I think this is working now. You guys kind of know the drill. If I am producing on my own, I have to check my audio. So I can hear my audio, which means that you should be able to hear my audio as well. Restream, again, not my friend today. Wouldn't go live on Facebook earlier. Now is kind of cutting in and out. So we're going to try this. We're going to see how far we get in this. But so far, so good. All right, what I was saying earlier is we have had two main supercells today that have done most of the work for us, okay? We saw 2-inch hailstones, 2.5 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches. Yes, you heard that correctly. 4-inch size hailstones. That is massive, way larger than the size of a baseball. We're basically talking about softball size hail at this point. Massive, massive hail. That was in Iowa. So I know a lot of people were asking, are these storms going to sustain themselves as they're moving into Iowa? And yes, they did. Now storms, let's stop this loop and let's see where those storms are right now. Looking to stay to the south of Des Moines. You can see that this is taking an easterly track here, tracking to the east at this severe thunderstorm warning is for 30 miles an hour, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and $half size hail. So that hail size has started to weaken, but this storm does have a history of producing 4-inch size hail. Now we do have a tornado warning, a confirmed tornado down here, highlighted here in pink. So let's take a look at this tornado warning right now. Let me get you some more information about this. Okay, so the National Weather Service saying from this tornado warning, it remains in effect until 9:15 this evening. A confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located 3 miles to the northeast of Essex, or 10 miles south of Red Oak, moving about 30 miles an hour. Ooh, we got a baseball size hail report as well over here. It is warned for 2-inch sized hail, obviously overperforming in that category as well. So they're saying extremely large and dangerous tornado, confirmed extremely dangerous tornado, moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. Again, this is just to the south of, let's see, Griswold, Red Oak, the south of Red Oak, just outside of Essex. So I was going to talk about the storms that we've seen already tonight, but we do need to monitor this tornado warning. So again, tornado warning, confirmed tornado, and this again is in the southern side of Iowa. These storms, it looks like this kind of pulsed up and down because it was pretty strong earlier, seemed to take a break right around the state line and then strengthened as it headed farther to the east. Yes, tornado on the ground. Observed tornado from a storm chaser out in Fremont, Iowa. And a storm chaser again confirming this is in Fremont, Iowa, which is quite interesting actually, because in Fremont, Nebraska, we had quite a hailstorm. This was from this northern storm right here. This storm through Fremont, Nebraska, just on the west side of Omaha, really saw some massive hailstones and not just large hail. We're talking baseball size hail here, but it went for about, it had some high wind with it as well, about 82 miles an hour. Holy moly. Now let me show you, we do have some videos of this storm. So let's pop this up. And I'll show you some of these videos. And I hope that the sound works on these videos, because we had a lot of commentary from people who were watching the storm saying like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. So let's pull up these videos here. So we do have permission to show you these videos. I know that I tell you often that it takes me a minute to get these up because I have to get permission. We do have permission to show you these videos. So here we go. Leave the radar up there. And I'll pull this player over so that you can see the video full. Check out that hail, and it's not exploding on impact. That's the first thing that I noticed, is that this hail is not exploding on impact. It is bouncing around and it's holding its shape together, which means that it's pretty hard hail, not soft hail. I really see it right. I'm going to back this up, right? Look right here on the sidewalk over here. As this hailstone hits, it just bounces around. There you go. It doesn't break at all, which tells me that it's hard hail, most likely in this case, causing more damage than what soft hail would do. I mean, obviously, hard hail is always going to cause more damage. So while this plays, I'm going to look at your questions. Tell me where you're watching from tonight. I'll check out your questions over here. Got lots of questions about Sioux City. Sioux City is having, does have storms just to the east of them right now. Fort Worth, another question about Fort Worth. I've always got questions about Fort Worth on here. And then another question about showing the radar through this evening. And we'll get to those questions here in just a minute. As always, stick your questions in the chat. I see a lot of people joining in from Facebook, some from Twitter. Again, Twitter, you can't ask your questions on Twitter. You have to go over to either Facebook or YouTube. But I see that we do have a lot of people jumping on Facebook and YouTube. So let's get right into it. Here's the first question that I see. Let's check out Des Moines. So let's go back to your radar. And let's go to your current time up in Des Moines. Quiet right now. Storms are just to your west. They're moving in. You can see that if we back this radar up just a little bit, storms are moving to the east, but it does look like it's going to stay to the south of Des Moines. Maybe you'll get some rain from this, but the strongest part of this storm is most likely going to stay to the south. It looks like this tornado is weakening down here as well. But the National Weather Service is still taking this as a particularly dangerous situation, a PDS tornado warning, particularly dangerous situation. They're still saying take cover now. Weather spotters still have confirmed that tornado is on the ground, that funnel is on the ground. Here's the wording from the National Weather Service here. For everyone highlighted in pink, you are in a life-threatening situation. Flying debris may be deadly to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be destroyed. Considerable damage to homes, businesses, and vehicles is likely, and complete destruction is possible. Again, that's coming in from the National Weather Service. Reading some of the information from our meteorologists in our meteorologist chat, that Fremont storm in Nebraska, about 6:30 tonight is whenever that storm hit. That is a 4-star storm, so officially upgraded to a 4-star. We told you earlier while we were live that it had just been confirmed a 3-star, and now I am on here to tell you that that storm, that's what you saw all of the hail video from just a minute ago, that is officially a 4-star storm. So our meteorologists have that mapped. You can go see that at hailtrace.com right now. Manuel is on here tonight saying hola, hello. Kansas City. Michael wants to know about Kansas City. Michael, great question. It's going to take me just a minute to pull up my my forecast, but I can pull it up here. I've got forecast graphics that we can pull up. And while I do that, if anyone else has any questions, any cities that they want me to really focus on in the forecast, let me know. Put that in the chat, and we can really try to get to your forecast here in this very quick live that we're doing this evening. It's about 9:12 here in Oklahoma. but we're covering storms out in Nebraska, Iowa, and even giving a forecast for Kansas City. All right. Give me just a minute to pull this up. You guys kind of know the drill. Whenever I produce on my own, it always takes me a little bit. All right. So what I'll do here is I'll show you the forecast for not only Kansas City, but also these storms that we're seeing right now. Where are they going? So I know a lot of people asked about Des Moines. So you'll see this radar will also show Des Moines on here. And let me switch over. There you go. All righty. So let's talk about what we're seeing right now. Earlier today, we had that enhanced storm risk that highlighted there in orange. The rest of this area highlighted in yellow is that slight risk. That's a level 2 on a scale of 5. And in green, a level 1, a marginal risk. Now, if we pop the radar on, what we're seeing right now are storms just to the west of Des Moines, eventually moving into Des Moines. Now, what I see that's very interesting from what our future radar is still showing is that it's still showing a supercell coming into Des Moines. However, I would be really hesitant to trust this because what we see on the radar right now, which is why you often need a meteorologist to explain these things, you can't just trust what one model says. The likelihood for these storms right now to take that north turn and go into Des Moines is pretty low. It can happen, it's pretty low. What we'll probably see from this is we'll probably see these storms just go to the south of Des Moines, maybe getting some rain in Des Moines, but for the most part, staying to the south. Now we'll continue to see storms as we head into the overnight hours, but the intensity, the severity is going to decrease as we head into the overnight, late night, early morning hours, Friday morning. By Friday morning, lots of people waking up with rain, southern Michigan, southern Wisconsin, also waking up with rain. We've got that here. I'll show you that rain in Michigan. There you go. Northern Michigan, excuse me. Waking up with rain tomorrow morning. Then by the time that we get into the late morning, early afternoon hours, we'll start to see those storms pop up. Okay. So what we're watching for here are multiple rounds of storms. I'll give you an example. Early afternoon, right around lunchtime in Oklahoma City, you're probably going to see some rain. However, even in Kansas City, look at that. Kansas City probably seeing some rain by the afternoon, lunchtime hours. But what we're really watching for is that severe risk to come in later in the day. Now, you're right, Kansas City, I think that a lot of people have been mentioning this multiple times. Kansas City had a risk yesterday, doesn't have a risk today. Now for tomorrow, it's a marginal risk. You're kind of splitting the city here with that marginal risk here in Kansas City. I know that's frustrating. What's the weather going to be? Is it going to rain? Is it not going to rain? Is it going to storm? Is it not going to storm? It's not always as straightforward as that. Omaha today, that forecast was straightforward. We knew that you were going to have storms around Omaha. Kansas City, that's a tough one for tomorrow. So we've got a lot of other questions about Kansas City. David asking about Kansas City. We've got questions about Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I see your questions on here. I know these are really hard questions to answer. Minneapolis, you're out of the storm risk. You're done. You're out of the storm risk. You don't have any storm risks today or tomorrow. You're all done. Kansas City, most likely getting rain at some point tomorrow, but your likelihood for storms, I put you in that green zone, that low zone for storms. You've got a higher risk in Chicago. And I know that Chicago, your risk, I would still probably say low to medium. It's a low risk. Oklahoma City, I would say your chances are a lot better. Look at this, 7:30 on Friday. Whew. Those are some nice storms right there. Those look like hailers to me. I had some questions about Bixby up near Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the northeast-ish side of the state. Looks like your timeline is going to be right around sunset tomorrow. Dallas storms are going to come in a little bit later, so DFW area, late night on Friday night. So if you're a late night owl, probably going to see those storms. If you get to bed early on Friday, you may sleep through them. Make sure that you have multiple weather alerts in case you get severe weather on Friday night. Questions about Minneapolis, if there's any hail reports there today. Let's take a look at your hail reports. In just a minute for my graphics to load here. You had a few hailers around there. Nothing that really catches my eye other than one up closer to St. Cloud. Yeah, so just to the north west of you, up near St. Cloud, you had a little hailer up there. It looks like we're in the ping pong ball size hail category. That's pretty good. All right, let me pull up Minneapolis and see if we actually got any reports. So I'm looking at the hail trace map right now. That's where I'm getting ping pong ball size hail. But I'll actually pull up your LSRs, local storm reports. LSR is the reports that the National Weather Service, the like storm chasers will send in, emergency management, that type of thing. They'll send that in. So let's take a look at that. Here we are, Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, Thursday. There you go. There's Minneapolis. Okay, so I do know I was watching these storms today. Most of these reports right here, they were in like the less than the size of a quarter category. So you're probably going to be chasing those really, really small stones up here. I saw those storms come in right around lunchtime today, and I didn't see anything reported higher than an inch. I saw a lot of like 0.88 inches. But I'll double check on that. Oh, okay. There's an inch. Up in, they say dime to quarter size hail, 2 miles to the east of NYE. That was right around 12:50 this afternoon. That's the closest I see to Minneapolis, other than those storms up near St. Cloud. Around 3:15 this afternoon, we got another incher. But hail trace mapped ping pong ball size hail. There's that storm up near St. Cloud. Came in right there, 3:15 this afternoon. So I don't see anything over about ping pong ball size hail in Minneapolis. And I don't know how far you want to drive. I don't know how far St. Cloud is from you. But I don't like to hype the storms. I would never hype the storms. Oh, you're in St. Cloud. That's not true. Any driving at all? Does it say a city by St. Cloud? So I'm reading some of the comments on here. Here's your comment. Asking, does it say city by St. Cloud? It says, so it's like on the south side of the city by like St. Augusta. Ooh, Clearwater. It says photo with ruler spotted on X on Twitter. So at least we have confirmation. Now, this is for 1 inch size hail. However, our meteorologist mapped ping pong ball size hail, 1.5 inches. And again, that was around 3:15 this afternoon. And you're welcome. Okay, a lot of people asking about Iowa, so let's go back over to our radar. Right now in Iowa, we have one tornado warning. Now we still have a confirmed tornado warning. Tornado and ping pong ball sized hail is what this area is warning for, highlighted here in pink, and that goes until, I bet this is about to expire, but I will double check. Goes until 10 o'clock, so we still have a while on this. This was confirmed farther back to the west, and we got baseball size hail out of this. Look at that, near Essex, baseball size hail. So this was a pretty impressive storm just a few minutes ago. That hail fell around 150. About 30 minutes ago. It's 150 Z. It'd be 8:50 Central Time. So Vince was asking about Iowa. Adrian also asking about Iowa. So that's what's going on in Iowa right now. Still tornado warned storm. Now this storm farther up to the north, $half size hail is what it's warned for, 60-mile-per-hour wind, looking to track directly to the east, moving east at 30 miles an hour. So the likelihood here that this comes into Des Moines pretty low, maybe on the south side. It will most likely come into Greenfield, Winterset, Indianola, kind of following this highway right here, almost parallel to the highway. Let's see, what other questions do we have? We have a question about, you guys are going to make me say this name, and I don't know how to say it. Pequot Lakes. Am I saying that correctly? I'm looking on our hail trace maps. Okay, I see some hail up there. Our meteorologist mapped a little over quarter size hail up there. Hailed for about 4 minutes. Another question about Ohio. Ohio, you're quiet right now. Got maybe a little rain. I don't even know if that's reaching the surface up there. Got a nice south wind going on right now. Ohio, I don't know if you want the temperature or the forecast, because you're not getting any storms right now. However, it's a crisp 55, 60 degrees, depending on where you are. That question was from Dennis on Facebook. The only storms that are severe warned right now are 2 in the far southern portion of Iowa and 1 up in the northern side of Iowa. Now, this is warned for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. So we call this marginally severe. It barely goes over marginal or into severe thresholds. This little line that's highlighted here in this light red color, the National Weather Service does this. It's called a mesoscale discussion. We call it like a meso, or an MCD is the shorthand for that. And what they're saying, this area highlighted here in red, it's like light red line right here. What they're saying for this area is they're saying a few stronger elevated storms may produce marginally severe hail. So we're talking about quarters to maybe $half here. On the eastern edge of a plume of steep mid-level lapse rates. I love how this is written. You may not understand what this means, but mid-level lapse rates are going to determine how fast a particle rises in the atmosphere. If we've got high lapse rates, it's going to rise really, really fast, and that's going to determine the updraft. It's also going to determine hail size. So if we can get a really strong updraft, it gives time for that hail to grow and grow and grow inside the cloud. So we want those steep lapse rates for larger hail. They're saying that we've got a plume of steep mid-level lapse rates. So moving on after all of this weather jargon here, It's a limited severe threat. So isolated severe storms, quarter to maybe $half size hail. We're probably going to see some strong winds, 60 to 65 miles an hour out of this. That's going to be the main threat. Your tornado threat up here, very, very low. Again, this is in the northern side of Iowa and southern side of Minnesota. That better threat for storms will be farther down here, just to the south of Des Moines. Now, this storm is what I'm watching for to go into Des Moines. For the most part, this storm will probably stay to the south of Des Moines. Joey's saying Chicago needs hail. Yeah, you guys are in the risk tomorrow. It's not great, but it's a better risk than today. It's storms. I had your hail risk today in that level 2 category. That yellow, highlighted in yellow category. I can pull that back up, actually. Now I see a lot more people jumping on, so I want to show you guys the I want to show you guys the videos that we found of all of the hail today. I know that you guys like to see hail videos. But first I'll show you that risk in Chicago. So here is your hail risk for tomorrow. Again, as we get more information, this could always change. So make sure that you see the live forecast at noon tomorrow. We live stream on Facebook if it works. Facebook's been having issues here lately. That's not an us problem. That's a Facebook problem. But usually Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Here's your hail forecast. Friday, April 18th, Chicago. I put you in the level 2 category, the moderate category. And you could see up to ping pong ball size hail. I was really honest about it earlier. Whenever I did my forecast earlier, I said between $half and golf balls, but I don't think that you'd get golf balls. I think you're going to be closer to ping pong ball size hail. I'm going to be honest with my forecast. I don't want to ramp it up. Now, Dallas, I think that Dallas has a better chance to see storms. This will be late on Friday, early Saturday. I think that Dallas, especially if you can get really warm tomorrow, you have a really good chance for some good storms on late Friday night, early Saturday morning. So I put you in the high category, highlighted there in red. Indianapolis, small hail, but a really good chance to see hail. Kansas City, I know we've already talked about this. Kansas City just doesn't have a good chance for storms. Fort Worth, yeah, we were just talking about Dallas. So we're talking about late on Friday night, early Saturday morning. What we're actually probably watching for here is several rounds of rain tomorrow, but the better chances for storms will come later in the day. And that question was from Jason on Facebook asking about Fort Worth. Just an update from these storms today in Fremont. We are confirming that this is a 4-star storm. Let's show the video again. So this is in Fremont, Nebraska. The first thing that I see from these videos, and we actually got some really, really good pictures of siding just completely torn up. It looked like you took a cheese grater to the siding of houses. It was just absolutely amazing. But the first thing that I see from this video right here, and I want to go back actually, this one, because it's in the middle of the storm, right? And I don't think that this is the largest hail. I think that we saw hail larger than this. This is just the video that I picked out to show you guys. Look at this flag over here. Look how much it's waving in the wind. It's like barely hanging on. So not only was this hard hail, it's bouncing along the sidewalk, but it's also being wind driven. It's being thrown across the yard by that high wind. And yeah, we got 82-mile-per-hour wind speeds in Fremont this evening. We got 65, and then we had an 82-mile-per-hour wind gust. So those are the things that really stick out in this photo. And this is other things that our meteorologists watch. They not only analyze the radar, but they're also looking for these videos. They're looking for those impact videos and pictures as well, not just hail sizes, but what was going on during the storm. What does the city look like after the storm? So that's other things that they're analyzing to give these storms certain ratings, 3, 4, 5 star. How do we come up with that number? I think that's a really common question. And those are some of the things that we look for: population, impact, wind driven, how much hail was there? Is it just a few larger hailstones? Or was there just a lot of hail? Did it look like snow outside? I like to say that this storm produced hail that looked like Easter eggs on the grass. It's just getting ready for Easter a little early. Now, do watch out for that Easter weekend forecast, because we have a chance for storms on Easter weekend, Saturday across the Midwest to the south, and then on Sunday across a lot of our southern states. Adrian said, "Here we go, Nebraska." Yes, this is what you're watching right now is Nebraska. So that was out of Fremont, Nebraska, which is actually a little ironic because Fremont, Iowa also had storms that produced this storm right here, produced a confirmed and what the National Weather Service was calling a PDS, particularly dangerous tornado. And I think it's back here. Oh yeah, look at that right there. Now, a lot of times I'll bring my 4-box up here. It shows a bunch of different, here, I can bring it up right now actually. So what this shows, let's go up to Iowa. Here we go. Pull some data in. What this shows is it'll show your classic reflectivity on this side of the screen. It'll show your storm relative velocity on this side of the screen. We've got VIL, V-I-L down here, and then we have correlation coefficient up here. So yeah, this storm is absolutely producing some hail. Right here is where I see the best chances for some pretty decent size hail. What is this warned for? Quarters. It's warned for quarter size hail. I bet that those hailstones are just a bit larger than quarters right here. This is going to probably staying to the south of Des Moines, maybe just clipping the far southern side of the city. And then you've got your tornado warning confirmed once again. Okay. The National Weather Service saying once again, this is a particularly dangerous situation. Take cover now. They're using some very, very critical wording here. They're saying if anyone highlighted in this pink polygon right here, you are in a life-threatening situation. Flying debris may be deadly to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be destroyed. Considerable damage to homes, businesses, and vehicles is likely, and complete destruction is possible. That is some extremely critical and important wording there. Again, this is for southern Iowa. Zooming out to give you an idea of where we're looking on the map. Corning, Lennox, Clearfield, Kent. Confirmed tornado. Very impressive. Now, this storm earlier did also produce baseball size hail as well. Any other questions on here before I head off for our Thursday evening? We have a forecast tomorrow at noon, your Friday forecast, live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and LinkedIn. But we also often do behind the scenes on TikToks. Those are always really fun because you get to see if we have any tech issues. You get to hear us talk to our producers. If we have any updates that we can give live on TikTok, we can also kind of chat back and forth on TikTok and give those live updates. So if you follow us on TikTok, you get to see that live behind the scenes of the forecast. What you're looking at here is the hail forecast for tomorrow. And here's what I'll do. Let's see. I know a lot of people are on here. Fort Worth. I think I answered Fort Worth whenever you asked, but just in case, let's just go back and look at it. I have time. Just a minute. I'm going to reset my camera angle here. Right down into Dallas. How far out does this go? Not far enough. There we go. Alrighty. Do you guys get to see like the insides of us making our graphics? This is what I look at every single morning. You can't see all of it right now, but every single morning I come in here, I make the graphics, I make our forecast. It's not a copy paste forecast. It's Hail Trace's own forecast with meteorologists that work on it. Not just me. A lot of the times it's me, but other times we've got other Mets working on it as well. If you ever hear Haley, Joey, Xander, they all contribute. All right, let's take a look at Fort Worth. We have this question from Jason Ray. Fort Worth, let's take a look. For tomorrow, what we're watching for is a very, very late storm system, maybe even early Saturday. Storms are not, models are not consistent on what time they want this thing to come in. Some are saying late Friday, some are saying late Saturday, or excuse me, early Saturday morning. Either way, I put you guys in that red category to get storms. So we'll see what models say tomorrow. Things could change. But it does look like storms will come in either late Friday night or early Saturday morning. They are not agreeing at all here. You know, some models want to bring those storms in late Friday, and then other models want to stall those storms. Now, I do think if they come in like early Saturday morning, we'll still have a pretty good chance for large hail. However, if it waits until like later Saturday morning after the sun comes up, I think that hail risk will go down. There's Dallas. Hey, take a look at this. You're going to get a lot of rain. Oh. Now take a look at this. You're going to get a lot of rain tomorrow during the day in Dallas. So even though those storms come in late, don't expect it to be a pretty day out there. Right around lunchtime, you're probably going to get those showers and storms right through DFW. Probably not severe at this time, just annoying. Going to ruin your patio. Lunchtime. There's your storms through Abilene late on Friday. Coming into Oklahoma City at that time as well. You can kind of see Oklahoma City in the far top middle of your screen. There's your risk. The National Weather Service or Storm Prediction Center has you in a marginal risk. That's a level 1 risk. And this model wants to bring storms to the north of you and really struggles to put anything in Dallas until Saturday. It'll probably be a pretty rainy Saturday. So if you're looking to do any Easter plans, any Easter activities on Saturday, it's going to be rainy. You won't just need that big jacket. You'll probably need your raincoat, your umbrella. The kids are going to have to put on their raincoat. Here's that tornado warning. Go back to this confirmed tornado warning that's moving through Corning and Lenox right now. It's very, very obvious where the tornado is. Very obvious. I'll put that red square over it. Debris being lofted into the air from this tornado. Very scary, dangerous situation. Next question was Illinois. Jose is asking about Illinois. Let me change my camera view and we'll go up to Illinois real quick. Where at in Illinois? Are we talking Chicago, Champaign? Where are we talking about in Illinois? I see a lot of people are commenting or are watching from X tonight. Thanks for watching. You can't comment on X. You can comment on Facebook and YouTube. So I can't see your comments on Twitter. However, I can see your comments on Facebook and YouTube, and I think LinkedIn as well. So if you head over to our Facebook or our YouTube platform, you can comment. We can talk back and forth. Okay, I was kind of stalling until he responded. Rockford, Decatur, and Champaign. Okay. That gives me a lot more information about where to put this map. That is kind of all over the place, though. Rockford to Champaign and Decatur. It's a lot of driving. Alrighty, I'll be quiet and show you the map finally. Okay, here's Illinois for tomorrow. Now, if you're in the far northern side of the state, you're probably going to be waking up with rain tomorrow, most likely not severe. There's a low chance, but it's most likely not severe. What we're probably watching for tomorrow morning is just that annoying morning commute rain. I think that it's going to be a pretty low chance for severe weather tomorrow morning. However, here's tomorrow afternoon. There you go. Okay, there's your storms right there. Very isolated. Not everyone's getting storms. This model, I think this is the HER. I think this is the HRRR. We call it the HER. Is taking storms right into Champaign. So you may get a good chance in Champaign. There's a little isolated one farther up to the north, closer to Decatur. It's going to be isolated. Not everyone getting storms tomorrow in Illinois. This is coming in starting in the far western side of the state, right around or shortly before dinner time, and then tracking to the east, to the central side of the state, right around sundown, and then out to the eastern side of the state into Indiana, shortly after sundown, all wrapping up most likely before you get to bed on Friday night. However, now this is new. This is brand new from this model run, I think, that you're going to have a second round of storms right afterwards. Quite interesting. So maybe not wrapping up by the time you go to bed. You could have 2 rounds of storms tomorrow. Check that out in the evening. And then in the overnight hours. There's your risk. You're in a slight risk for tomorrow, a level 2 on a scale of 5. My hail forecast for you had ping pong ball size hail, and you were in the medium category. Level 2, the yellow category. Another question about Minnesota. Do you know if Minnesota got hit with anything? Great question. I actually just pulled this up a few minutes ago, so I know the answer to that question. And I can show you your local storm reports, LSR, local storm reports. We're already in Minneapolis. Go way in the future. There you go. I know that these reports, anywhere from Minneapolis all the way down to like just north of Rochester, Most of these were either quarter size, 1-inch size hailstones or smaller. I didn't see anything larger than the size of a quarter in here. However, farther up to the north by, what did I say earlier? Clearwater. So it's just to the south of St. Cloud. Clearwater did see some larger hailstones like the size of a ping pong ball, 1.5 inches. So I don't know where you're at in Minnesota, but it looks like Clearwater area, just to the south of there, had some of the largest hail that we saw in the state. Other than that, these stayed below severe threshold. They stayed 1 inch in size or smaller. But there's your radar for the entire day in Minnesota. Close to St. Paul. Okay, so you're on the right side of the city to go to Clearwater. Right? Am I correct on that or am I wrong on that? You guys are really testing my geography. Oh, you're on the wrong side of the city. You're on the east side. Clearwater is on the west side. Okay, another question about Des Moines. Okay, we're going to show Des Moines and then we're going to wrap up here. It is getting late and I have a forecast for tomorrow to get ready for. So I will have to go here in just a minute. Here's Iowa. Here's Des Moines. Storms are staying to the south right now, so the south of the city could get hit. However, it looks like this storm looks to be weakening. It's not as impressive now as it was earlier. You will get rain. Questionable on if you get any hail. The biggest storm and most impressive storm in Iowa right now is this southern storm. It did produce a tornado already, confirmed tornado on the ground. However, it looks like not now. We have a tornado warning and 2-inch size hail possible down here near Corning and Lenox. However, no confirmed tornado, so that's good. That's really good news. Although I see why they've kept this tornado warning. Look, we still have some really good rotation right here. It's not gate to gate, so nothing's confirmed. However, it's still rotating pretty impressively. 1, 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. We had another one up to the north, but it looks like it has expired. That's something that we've seen from southern Minnesota and northern Iowa this evening, is that it's been very, very isolated. These storms will pulsate where they'll go up in intensity and then they'll go down and then they'll go up and they'll go down. If they can produce up to quarter size hail, the size of a quarter, 1 inch in size, then they'll go severe. They'll be severe warned. If they stay below that 1 inch threshold, they won't be warned. So that's why you can often see hail, as you can see a storm produce hail, but if it's smaller than the size of a quarter, then the National Weather Service won't warn it, and our meteorologists won't map it either. There's your severe thunderstorm warnings. And 1 tornado warning down in southern Iowa. Yeah, I mean, you may be getting a little bit of hail with this, but I'm not terribly impressed. With this storm, it's so disorganized. You may be getting a little bit of hail. I would say, if anything, right around the size of a quarter. I wouldn't go too much larger than that. I haven't seen anything confirmed. Either way, I do have to hop off of here. I told you that got to get some sleep before your forecast tomorrow. So we do have a noon forecast every single day. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever you're watching now, you can get that forecast tomorrow. If you're in cities that could get hit either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, we still have several more days of severe weather ahead of us. We will be talking about it tomorrow. We'll also be talking about what we've seen tonight. We'll do a recap tomorrow and talk to some meteorologists who were mapping this storm. All right, thanks for joining us on this Thursday evening. We will see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow.